Well, good morning. It is Thanksgiving Day, and of course, it is just me. But I thought I would show you. I'm going to fix Thanksgiving dinner for myself anyway. And in the oven, I have my 13-pound turkey going. It looks wonderful. And what I am cooking it in is in my Tupperware Ultra Pro lasagna pan. They do have a roasting pan, but I don't have one of those, so I'm using my lasagna pan, and it's the perfect size. So hopefully, here I'm going to leave it in, I think, about 3.5 hours and see how that turns out. And these, yes, Tupperware makes bakeware. And they are the Ultra Pro, and they are completely oven and microwave safe, along with freezer, dishwasher safe. And over here I'm using the cover, and I made a cornbread stuffing, just basic stuffing mix, and a little bit of green beans. Like I said, it's just me, so I am going to pop that into the oven also here in a little bit and use the cover as my baking dish. Okay, well, what I'm going to do next here is I'm going to slice some potatoes, and I'm going to use the Tupperware paring knife. They come with their own little blade guard. This is very important. These things are like surgically sharp. Don't try to be a ninja. Not a good idea. I've done that in years past. It's not pretty. So when you get done using it, always put it back in its guard for safety reasons until you're ready to wash it. Hand wash these, get them dried off, and right back into their guard. But I am going to be slicing, just peeling some of the skin off of these potatoes, and I am going to start making some mashed potatoes. So, see you in a bit. Okay, now that I have the potatoes cut up, just for this, I am using a 4-quart Tupperware stock pot. Yes, we also have cookware. And in this one, I have my turkey gravy. And I'm going to be heating that up. But this is, I use the 4-quart stock pot, stainless steel, to put my potatoes in. And I'm going to boil these until the potatoes are tender. I added a little bit of sea salt. I always like to do that. Kind of keeps things from sticking. And when that gets done and it's nice and tender, we'll continue on with that. But I want to talk a little bit. One, the cookware that Tupperware has, like this is actually an older version of the 4-quart stock pot, so that'll tell you how long these pans last. I've had this one for years. They have a newer style out, and when you choose your pans, you want to choose what kind of materials do you think you're going to be using most often, because they do have a non-stick version, which is PFOA safe. It is completely free of that, which was a chemical that they used to use in Teflon before 2013. That was very, very dangerous. But a lot of places don't use that anymore, and Tupperware is one of those that is always cautious about the materials they're putting in their product. But the gravy I have in my Tupperware saucepan, which is the non-stick, and this is also stovetop and oven safe. So these are really super nice pans. Like I said, this is my older 4-quart, and they have a whole set of their stock pots in all different sizes. And what's really nice is to save yourself on storage. If you were to decide to get the larger sizes, they nest inside each other to help you save space. And then I wanted to talk a little bit more about the knives, because I am crazy about the knives. I showed you the paring knife, but Tupperware over the years, this right here is their chef knife. It's a must-have. You can cut anything practically with your chef knife. But over the years, they have had, you know, the steak knives and the bread knife. And so anytime Tupperware comes out with a new knife, snag it up. I've had mine for 20 years and they are still super sharp. Tupperware does have a knife sharpener that you can get to help keep your knives nice, perfectly sharp, but the quality of these knives are phenomenal. But back to these pans. Again, they have the non-stick and they have the completely stainless steel for even heating. And I have gotten cheaper stainless steel from box stores before, and I ended up throwing them out. They were just sticking, and I just couldn't do anything in them. But Tupperware's stock pots and stainless steel is super great. But I'm kind of a crazy cook, so sometimes I do have the accidents. I made a bad decision one time to use a cooking oil in a cooking recipe, and it got really sticky. It burnt to the bottom of my pan. I thought, oh my gosh, I have completely ruined my pan. You know, if that ever happens to you, here's a little tip. Get some baking soda. I use like a quarter cup baking soda. Threw it in that burnt pan. Put in some vinegar, about a cup of vinegar, and that stuff will have a chemical reaction. It'll start bubbling. Add a little bit of hot water to it. Let it sit, and then come back to it later, and that stuff should just come right out of there. That little tip alone has saved me a lot of grief when it comes to me burning things in the bottom of my pans, which it rarely happens, but it does happen. So I'm going to let these potatoes go, and then we'll be right back. Okay, now our potatoes are done. They're nice and tender. I have put them in one of my Tupperware mixing bowls. These come in all sizes. I absolutely love them, and I love the grip handle so you can hold on to it when you're mixing like batters and stuff that, you know, you really want to hang on to. But in the potatoes, I added a little bit of sea salt, about a quarter cup of butter. I kind of cubed it, threw that in there. And then I have my little Tupperware 1 cup measuring pitcher. We'll get into some of that later. But I have a little bit of milk in that. If you don't like milk, another way to do this is to use mayonnaise. Some people like using mayonnaise, and I've done it before. But this is my Tupperware potato masher. I have an older one. And these things work great. They have a newer version out that is wonderful. But again, that shows you how long these items last. You don't want to have to keep buying things over and over and over because they fall apart, they don't work right. And we just don't want to waste our money like that, especially right now. So we just press this down, mash up our potatoes. Don't even need an electric mixer. This just works great. And I get those mashed up. And of course, you have your seals. Right now, there's warm. And let them cool just a little bit. So when I have leftovers, if I have leftovers, I will use my seal to cover this and keep for later. So that's our potatoes. I didn't use quite a cup. I still have just a tiny bit left. You know, kind of eyeball it when you're doing your mashed potatoes. Some like them a little bit thinner. Some like them thicker. But that is a real quick, easy way to do your potatoes. Okay, now we're going to do our bread. And I've never done this one before, so once again, I have a beer bread mix from Southern Living, and I poured the mix into my Tupperware mixing bowl. Another size, can you see? You love these colors. Anyway, okay, I digress. And it says to use 12 ounces of beer, but I don't have beer. They said that you can substitute 1 1/4 cups of, the dog has something. Okay, hey, come here. Give me that. All right. Nope. Scratch that. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to be using ginger ale. So I'm going to be using 1.5 cups of ginger ale. And they say you can add shredded cheese. It's optional. I'm going to use some very finely shredded Parmesan cheese. And these are the Tupperware measuring cup set that a lot of people are familiar with. That it is a must-have. So they say just put your cheese in there, and then you want to add your ginger ale, and I'm pouring that out of my Tupperware 2-cup measuring pitcher. And I'm going to take my wonderful little Tupperware spatula, and I'm going to mix that up really, really well. And also, you're going to need a half a stick of melted butter. And here in our Tupperware measuring pitcher, yes, it's totally microwave safe. So if you use your microwave to melt your butter, this is a great option. I put it in the 2-cup, and I use the smaller 1-cup to put over the top while it's melting in the microwave. It will vent and also keep anything from splattering inside your microwave. So I'm going to stir that up, and let's get busy. Okay, I mixed up the batter, and I am using my 2-quart Ultra Pro, Tupperware Ultra Pro. This is one of the pieces that comes in the Ultra Pro Magic set for stack cooking in your oven. But right now we're doing our bread. I put that in there. I have coated my pan, and you can use a non-stick cooking spray or use butter if you like. Just get it coated. And then we're going to pour our melted butter. It says pour the melted butter over the top of the bread. Oh boy. And it says preheat your oven to 350 degrees, and we're going to bake this for 40-45 minutes. And they want you to put it on a cookie sheet just in case there is any spillover. So like I said, I've never done this, but we're going to try it. I'm going to pop this in the oven, and we'll see what we get. Okay, well, our bread is out of the oven. It took exactly 45 minutes. I tested it with my knife, and it came out clean. And is that absolutely beautiful for a quick bread? That just turned out great. But this is everything. And look how nice that the Ultra Pro, right from the oven to the table, just looks really super nice. So we have our stuffing, our green beans, our turkey, our bread, our potatoes, our gravy. And one correction when doing this bread, I said I used a half stick of melted butter. I actually melted an entire stick of melted butter and put it on there. And that's how the directions said to do it. And then as for the turkey, some people like to let their turkeys sit in a brine like overnight. Some people do that. This I did a real simple way. I put sea salt over the top, rubbed it down with some sage, sprinkled a little thyme on top, and I put it in the oven between 350 and 325 degrees Fahrenheit. And it was in there for just right at 3.5 hours for a 13-pound turkey, and my little popper thing popped. So it's done, and it turned out beautiful. And then again, we have our Tupperware butter dish, a must-have. But I'm going to take that butter, and I'm going to slather it on some of this bread. I think that's probably the first thing I'm going to do. And you're thinking, well, what about dessert? Well, that's on you, darling, because this kid has had way too much dessert here lately. Not that that will last long, because I'm sure I will be back with plenty of dessert ideas in the near future. Okay, well, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Yeah, Bridget says hi. Um, I hope you enjoyed the video, and be sure to check out my Tupperware website. Tupperware has got sales going on all the time, but this time of year, they have got some great sales, especially with Black Friday coming up tomorrow. And if you're looking for some really neat recipes, you can find that also on my Tupperware website. So check it out. You're going to get a great product that will yet last you for years. And that's something we could all use right now. So I hope this video was helpful. And until next time, just to, even if you're like me and you spend the holidays alone, just do it. You're worth it. Talk to you later.